Module 1, Topic 1, Lesson 4 is Mirror, Mirror, and it's reflections of figures on the coordinate plane. So, start off, we do the review, and if we do this, negative times a positive is going to be a negative. 1 times 6 is 6, so my answer is negative 6. Then, number 2, negative times negative is a positive. Anything times 1 is going to be itself. So 3/5. Negative times a positive is a negative, so a negative 3 or 4.33. And last but certainly not least, positive times a negative is a negative, and so we have a negative 4 each. Okay, so again, we're doing transformations. We dealt with translations. We're now going to be dealing with reflections. And reflections, again, is a rigid motion, which means that when you do the reflection, you will end up with a congruent figure. So we've got an ambulance here. What do you think the word ambulance appears in the window like this in the front of the vehicle? If you have ever driven a car, it's because the rear view mirror will reflect it. And you'll be looking at it, reading it as ambulance and not backwards. Suppose you replace the word ambulance with your name. Write your name as it would appear on the front of the vehicle. Okay, so let's say my name is, I don't know, John. Okay, that's how it would look this direction. If I was to go backwards, it would look like that. And how can you check it? Use a mirror to check it. So now we are going, you have to remember what is the x-axis and what is the y-axis. So if we're talking about the x-axis, that's this one right here. Okay? That's the x-axis. If I'm talking about the y-axis, I'm talking about the vertical axis. Oh, that was a horrible, sorry. There we go. Okay. It says, place patty paper on the coordinates and trace the figure J. Copy the labels of the vertices on your piece of paper. So you would put the little piece of paper on top of it. Reflect the figure J across the x-axis. Again, remember, it says that the x-axis, so I'm going over the x-axis. So this is going to go from here down to here. Now, you're not translating down. You're not going straight down. You're flipping your piece of paper over. And when you flip your piece of paper over, B prime is going to come here. C prime is going to come here. A prime is going to come here. F prime is going to come here. E prime is going to come here. I need D prime. D prime is going to come here. And you just draw . Now you may have been thinking, how did she do that so quickly? Now I don't have a piece of paper, but I know that when I reflect this, the distance between the point and the x-axis here was 1. So that means down below it had to be 1. If I talked about A, the distance between, try that again. The distance between A and the x-axis was 5. So A prime in the x-axis also had to be prime, or 5. Same thing over here. I'm talking about F. It was 6 away. So that means F prime has to be 6 away also. So it says that I need to write down the new figure. Make sure that you're putting prime. This tells us what the pre-image is. These tell us what the image is. So the starting spot was pre-image. Pre means before. And image is where we're going to end up. Now, here we go, here we go. So I'm going to look at A prime. I'm going to use my highlighter. I'm going to actually change the color on my highlighter. Oh, I don't want that color. We'll go here. So right here, we're looking at A prime. So if I'm looking at A prime, I went to the right 2 and I went down 5. Okay? Right 2, down 5. B, I went to the right 2, down 1. Right 2, down 1. C, I'm going to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 1. Then going to go to D, so I'm going this direction to 6 and down 2. So 6 down 2. Okay, then E. I go to the right 5 and I go down 4. 5, -4. Oops. And last but certainly not least is F. So I go to the right 6 and I go down 6. So 6, -6. Now, I want you to look at these. Okay? We went over the x-axis, and I want you to compare these coordinates. So, I had 2, 5, and I went to 2, -5. I went from 2, 1 to 2, -1. 4, 1, 4, -1. 6, 3. Ooh, I messed up on this one. This is 6, -3. Yep, I messed up on that. Sorry about that. E, 5, 4, 5, -4. 6, 6, 6, -6. Now, if you notice all of the things that we have, okay, how are they the same? Well, if I look at it, all the x values are the same. All the y values are the opposite. Okay? And that's when you're going over the x-axis. This is when we go over the x-axis. When we go over the x-axis, the x values are the same. The x values are the same. The y values are the opposite. When you go over the x-axis, the x values are the same. All the y values are their opposite. So this time, we're going to go over the y-axis. It's the same picture, but this time we're going over the y-axis. So we're going over this axis right here. I'm going to change colors on this. Okay, so B. If I flipped it over, I would get B prime here. I would get A prime here. I would get C prime here. D prime, I would get here. E prime, E prime I would get here. F prime, I would get, is that right? No, that's not right. F prime is there. So, oh, that was bad. Still bad. And so here we did. I went over the y-axis. So I need to write down what the values are for each one of these primes in the image. So if I look at A, I'm going to get -2, 5. B, I'm going to get -2, 1. C, I'm going to get -4, 1. D prime, going to get -6, 3. E prime, -5, 4. And -6, 6. So now as I look at this, and I've gone over the y-axis, what are the similarities and differences? We're going to look at the x values, look at the y values. Oh, I should have done those last two lines in a different color. We'll pick, I don't know, I guess we could do yellow. Look at the y values. What's the same? What's different? So when you go over the y-axis, the y's stay the same. And the x's are the opposite. Oh, that was horrible. Okay. So let's consider a new figure situated differently on the coordinate plane. We're going to reflect. It says we're going to reflect over the x-axis. Then we're going to reflect over the y-axis. Oops. Okay. Now, I'm going to use blue because no, I'm not going to use blue. That's the color it's given. So, I'm going to go over the x-axis. So, when we went over the x-axis, the x is the same, but the y is the opposite. Okay, so when I do that, I'm going to start at P. Okay, P has -2, 2. So the x is going to stay the same, but the y is going to be opposite. So that would get P is 2, -2. So this is P prime. Q is 4, 4. So the 4 is going to stay the same. The x value is going to stay the same. The y value is going to go to its opposite. So it's going to be 4, -4. Ooh, I didn't mean to write that part. So this is going to be, oops, sorry, Q prime. Then R is 0, -8. The 0 stays the same. the negative 8 turns to a positive 8. So that's going to be r prime. S, the negative 6 stays the same. The negative 10 changes to a positive 10. And that is S prime. Okay. There we go. Now it wants us to reflect, come on, over the y-axis. So we're going to take PQRS and reflect it over the y-axis. So for this, it means the x is the opposite and the y stays the same. So if I'm looking at P, the negative 2 is going to change to a positive 2. And so here we have P double prime. Then we have Q. That's the opposite is going to be negative 4, 4. Q double prime. R is going to be 0, negative 8 because there's no opposite of 0. So this is going to be R double prime. And then S is going to change to 6, negative 10. So 6, negative 10. So S double prime. And there we have it. Okay, so over here, again, we're going to go over, oh, you know what? I was probably supposed to do that second one and this second. Sorry about that. I'll do it again. I'm supposed to go over the y-axis over on this one. Come on. So this would get me P prime. This would get me Q prime. This would get me S prime and R prime. There we go. There we are. Much better. Okay, use the patty paper to test your conjecture. Okay, so this is going over the x-axis. So that means that P prime was negative 2, negative 2. Q prime was 4, negative 4. R prime was 0, 8. And S prime was negative 6, positive 10. Are those the exact same spots we got? It is. Okay. This was over the y-axis. So P double prime would be 2, 2. Q double prime would be negative 4, 4. R double prime is 0, negative 8. And S double prime is 6, negative 10. And if you look up here at the top, those are the points that we would have gotten. Okay. Okay, we're going to compare the coordinates with this and with this. Okay, if I do that, the x's are the same. The y's are opposite. And that's with it going over the x-axis. It's going over the y-axis. If we look at this, the x's are the opposite. And the y's are the same. Okay. So, we just talked about it. We talked about the fact that if something goes over the x-axis, the x's stay the same, the y's do the opposite. If it goes over the y-axis, the x's have the opposite and the y's stay the same. So, again, if I have xy, the x stays the same, the y is opposite, the x is opposite, and the y stays the same. Okay, so when I'm looking at this, use the table to record coordinates of the vertices of the triangle, then graph it. So A prime, B prime, C prime. X-axis, so the x stays the same. Y is opposite. X stay the same, y is opposite. X stays the same, the y is opposite. So then I plot the point. 3, -4. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. A prime. 6, -1. B prime. 4, -9. C prime. Now if you put your piece of patty paper on top of it, do you get the same shape? Yes, you do. Then A double prime, B double prime, C double prime. It's the y-axis. So the x takes the opposite, the y stays the same. The x takes the opposite, the y stays the same. The x takes the opposite, the y takes the same. So -3, 4. A double prime. 6, -1. B double prime. Why did I do that? Sorry. -6, 1. There we go. B double prime. And -4, 9. -4, 9. C double prime. Awesome. Then you're given the vertices. Reflect across. So that means, again, D prime, E prime, F prime. We're not changing, it's going over the x-axis. We are not changing the x value. We're leaving it alone. So the -7 stays the same. The 10 does the opposite. The -5 stays the same. The 5 does the opposite. The -1 stays the same. The -8 does the opposite. Okay, using the same information, this time we're doing over the y-axis, so the y stays the same, and the x is the opposite. So the opposite of -7 is 7, and the y stays the same. 3, the x does the opposite, the y stays the same. The value of the points -1,8 changes to 1, -8, because you take the opposite of the x value and the y value stays the same. Okay, beautiful. Now we have to verify that these are the same. Okay? So the coordinates of the original. So J, this is the pre-image. So J is going to be 2, 2. K, 4, -1. L is 2, -2. And M is 0. Try that again. 1, 0. What are the coordinates of J prime? J prime is negative 2, 2. K prime is negative 4, negative 1. L double prime. Oh, so it's not double. L prime is negative 2, negative 2. And last but not least, I have M prime, and that is negative 1, 0. So if I'm comparing, let's do some comparing. I'm comparing these two. Which one changed? This one changed. Comparing the K and the K prime. The negative 4 is what changed. 2, negative 2 becomes negative 2, 2, negative 2. This one changed. And certainly not least, certainly the X value changed. So that means if the X value changed but the Y value stay the same, it reflects over a Y-axis. Okay. Okay, so I'm looking at this. I have figure T, K, and P. We have to decide, are they still congruent? Okay, if I look at I take a piece of patty paper and I put it on top of it, and you decide whether or not they're congruent. I know that K and K prime, yes, they are. How do I know? Because if I look at this, this goes up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. This goes down 3, down 3 over 2. Down 3 over 2. So yes, it is. So what did it do? It reflected over the X axis. Okay. P to P prime. Well, let's look at it. Okay, so here we go down 3 over 1. We go down 3 over 1. We did that. Then this is down 3 over 1. Uh-oh, this goes down 2 over 1. So no, it is not. Oops, that's not a no. Okay. And T. If I look at T, this is up 3 over 1. 1, 2, 3 over 1. This side, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. So up 1, 2, 3, 4 over, oops, sorry. Yep, those are congruent, so yes. Okay, so then you're going to do your homework on page 55.